Hello scholars, hello researchers. Welcome to today's episode of our research training series. My name is Juliet and I'm the co-founder of Academic Hive for African Scholars. Some of you already know me by now. So today we'll be talking about writing a good problem statement. Maybe not good. I prefer to say an effective problem statement. Writing an effective problem statement or an effective statement of problem. If you find yourself in the research field, if you find yourself in the research space, you should know that the word problem statement is very familiar. Or even if you're thinking of coming into research, maybe you want to have a BSc or say you just want to do any academic research. Problem statement is a very common phrase you'll be hearing oftentimes. Now, it's a very key element of any research. The problem statement gives one an insight into what you want to solve. So I'd like to say here that a research can either be to contribute to existing knowledge or to solve a problem, to solve a situation. Maybe you've seen a social issue you want to solve. You want to solve a problem in the society or in an organization or anywhere, but you want to solve, either you want to solve a problem or you want to contribute to existing knowledge or existing body of knowledge. Now, how do we write an effective problem statement? Before we go into that, please, if you identify with this, click on your comment section or click on the comment section below. Have you ever submitted your research work, say chapter 1 for example, and then your supervisor tells you he doesn't understand your problem statement, or the statement of problem has not been identified. But to you, you've written a problem, you see a problem in what you've done. But this examiner or this supervisor keeps telling you he doesn't see any problem here. Much in the early days of my research career. Yeah, that happened to me. I remember that I almost had, a face-off with my supervisor during the MSc stage, and he was like, Juliet, you're not writing, you're not getting the problem statement right. I don't see any problem. Go back and write the problem statement. And actually, I wrote statement of problem almost 5 times before it was approved. Now, what am I saying? It's very normal for supervisors to complain that you have not clearly stated your statement of problem. But here, this training is going to help you understand how to write an effective, not a good, an effective statement of problem. Whether you are applying for a grant or whether you're writing for a civil society organization, say an NGO, or if it's an academic research, it's just for your grad school work or something, then you should listen to this video. So there are 3 basic types of problem statement, or there are 3 elements of the problem statement, 3 things that should appear in your problem statement if you want to smash that section of your research work. First is what we call the practical problem. What's the practical problem? So the practical problem has to do with those issues you can identify around you. Remember, research is either you're solving a problem or you want to contribute to an existing body of knowledge. Now, the practical problem refers to that issue, that thing that makes you uncomfortable, that you would like to address, that you want to work on, you want to investigate, What's that problem? What's that social thing? What's that thing about the society that you don't like? That's the practical problem. So let's say, let me use an example. Let's say we want to, you're someone who is very good with social media, and then you want to see how social media affects students' academic performance. Let's say among secondary school students, like, so we can say our topic, our hypothetical topic here for this work is, say the effect of, where do I write that? I'm just looking for where to put that. Okay, let me just put that so that we'll be working with that as we move along. So let's say the topic is the effects of social media on students' academic performance. So we're going to use this as the hypothetical topic for this video. Now we're talking about the practical problem, right? And like I said, the practical problem refers to the phenomenon, the issues you can see, the one that is easily observable. You can easily identify that for this topic, our practical problem can be that school administrations have noticed that there have been a decline in the academic performance of their students. Or it could be that you have observed that almost every young person in high school owns a cell phone and they are almost distracted. So that distraction that you have observed, the everyday distraction or the complaint from exam bodies or school administration, is the practical problem. So the mistake that so many research work perform, academic research work perform, is that we dwell so much on the practical problem. Yeah, it's good to have your practical problem well spelled out, but then the practical problem, well, if you're going to just leave it as explaining what is happening in the society, explaining how school children are distracted with cell phones, explaining how the administrations are complaining that the results are declining, that students are not paying attention in classes. If you're going to just dwell on all of that, you may have a paragraph or two or even a page full of practical problem. If you give that research to a professor, someone who is well vested in the art of research, they'll keep turning it down. Not that it's not a problem, it is a problem, but there is more to writing the problem statement than just the practical problem. So if you identify with this, if you had issues with your problem statement and you know that your supervisor has kept correcting it and complaining about it, please let us know in the comment section so that we can identify ourselves. I've been in that shoe. Alright, so I'm sure we are clear on the practical problem. There's another type of research problem, or another element of the research problem, or the problem statement which should appear in your work. Now that is called the empirical problem. Maybe I should write that. I should write this in full, right? It's called the empirical problem. The empirical problem is more unique, is more detailed, is more fact-based than the practical problem. For the empirical problem, you want to be sure that you have your facts The empirical problem is where you begin to discuss what is happening, what is the discussion in the literature, what are people talking about, what are people saying about the effect of social media on students' academic performances. What are they saying about it? So the empirical problem could be that different scholars or different researchers have also investigated how social media affects students' academic performance. So you're telling us about it, like you're mentioning these scholars, you're mentioning these works, okay? If you say that different scholars have done this, you have to mention you're going to learn more about citation the rest of the bootcamp, or maybe in subsequent videos about citations, how to cite or how to reference. But you should have references. You're telling us the work that other people have done. So that's okay. It shows that you are knowledgeable. It shows that you have insight into the discussions around the issues you want to investigate on. But the empirical problem now sorts out what is it about what other scholars have done that you have noticed they haven't touched. Like, what is it that they have done, and what is it that they have not done, or which area, which aspects of this topic have they not done, have they not touched, that you would like to solve or you would like to address with your research. That's what the empirical problem is about. So for the empirical problem, like I said, you have to mention that from your review of literature, it's been observed that different scholars have actually tried to address the issue of social media on students' academic performance. But you noticed that these scholars either focused on very young children, or they focused on university graduates, or probably they didn't even mention the age bracket. They're just taking it like youth in general. But your work this time around, you may be concerned with working on high school students. So yes, they have done something related to your field. Of course, there's always something related to whatever research you want to solve. There's no idea that is so new to some extent. But once you have been able to identify an aspect, no matter how small that aspect is, but so long as you've been able to identify that aspect, you've been able to identify that gap, the right problem, yes. Why you're showing that different scholars have also examined the effects of social media on students' academic performance. Yet, however, you notice that study focus only on students or university students, or such problem or such research have been carried out mostly in the Western context, with very few carried out in whatever climate. So let's say we want to use Nigeria, with very few carried out in the Nigerian context. So you make a case, you back up your case. What is it that you want to do? You cannot say that based on the complaint by, let's say, YEC, based on the complaint by YEC, or school authorities in Nigeria, it's been noticed that, or you want to say something like, based on the complaint of that problem, the complaint from there, based on the complaint, you want to put your own system in Nigeria, because the complaint, remember you have a practical problem. The complaint was emanating from this set of people that you have identified earlier in your practical problem. So that's what I meant by the empirical problem is an advancement of your practical problem. So you have gone into other works, the works of other people, to see how they have addressed this problem. So at the empirical problem, you are telling us that yes, they have tried to address this problem, but they did not touch this aspect or that aspect. So it can be anywhere. Your empirical problem can be focused on either the method that other researchers have used, or how advanced or how old the research work is. Or how old the research work is. Or the age of from what you do, then that is a problem. But one thing you should be sure to back up your empirical problem with facts. It's very important to do that. So I hear people say, my professor says, my supervisor it's good to believe what my say. For us to even mention the empirical problem, then you have to cite the author. You have to cite those other studies you claim you have investigated or you have understudied. So I think that is it for the empirical problem. Then the final one is also a bit more higher than the empirical problem. It is called the theoretical problem. The theoretical problem here explains that, or indicates that you want to add to an existing theory. So what's a theory anyway? So a theory is a supposition or an idea that has been put forward to explain a phenomenon. So there have been several theories before now. We know, like the theory of gravity or other theories. So a theory is an idea or a supposition, like some kind of assumption that came out from scientific process. But then these assumptions are used, or these suppositions are used to explain a particular phenomenon or a particular situation in the society, for example. So in our hypothetical topic here, I can use let's say what theory is related to social media. Okay, yeah. So one comes to mind, the theory of diffusion of innovation, or the diffusion of innovation theory. So that theory states that not everyone have the same level of usage for a particular innovation. That is, there are some people in a society, in a given society, there are some people that are likely to make use of a particular innovation more than others. So those people, or those sets of individuals, have been segmented, into the laggards, the early users, things like that. So this direction of innovation theory, it's one of the oldest theory, I think by Rogers, if I'm not mistaken, by Rogers in the 19s, in 19 something or so, is it 1962? Something, Rogers, yeah, he was the one that came up with that theory. Now, imagine how old that theory is, 1962. But that theory is very valid because other works in your empirical problem, you investigate when you work your empirical problem, they may have used that theory. They may have seen that, wow, this theory is actually true. Some persons in society tend to make use of social media better than others. So why is it supposed to be part of your theoretical problem? Remember, research should either be extending or adding to a body of knowledge, or should be solving a problem. We can see the problem solving here in the practical problem and the empirical problem. The theoretical problem is where you really show that you want to add to existing knowledge. For the PhD, if you're thinking of taking a PhD, then this is something you should really consider. You should always consider how to, what to write for your theoretical problem. Always mention maybe one or two theories that you can use to explain your work. such that when you have finished, when you've concluded your research, you can now use the findings to either ascertain that theory or refute that theory. That way, people can now cite you that your study had either supported this theory, or it had refuted this theory, or it had modified the theory to some extent. You know, in PhD, grad school, we want to see what new thing you are adding to existing knowledge. That's why you should always take cognizance of this, you know. Take note of this. These are the three problem statements, or the three elements that should appear in your problem statement if you want your problem statement to be effective. The practical problem, what is observed; empirical problem, what other people have done and what they have not done that you intend to do; and the theoretical problem, the theory that you intend to understand through your research, that you intend to advance or you intend to modify, or you intend to refute, or you intend to support. But you need to understand when someone, or when your supervisor or admission committee goes through your research proposal and says that these three aspects are present in your problem statements, in your proposal, you're likely to have an issue. In fact, it automatically endears your work to them. They are already impressed. Because first, they know that you want to solve a problem in the society. Next, they know that you have done your research. You have done your homework. You're not just coming up and writing what is just coming to your head. You have done your research. And then, they know that you want to advance existing knowledge. You want to innovate something. You want to invent something. You want to add something original to what has already been on ground. Please, and please, when next you are writing your problem statement, ensure that you have all these aspects in it. If you give it a try, let me know what the outcome was like, and let's all celebrate that we learned something new. If you have any questions, please make use of the comment section, and I'll be there to respond to your questions. So till next time, what I want to say is that there is a whole lot to learning how to write most of these problem statements. But because of time, this is just supposed to be a very short video. We can't do all of this. But you have an opportunity to learn more about how to write an effective or a smashing or a winning problem statement when you register for the upcoming Academic Hive Research Bootcamp. It's going to take place on March 8th to 19th, 2021, and it's going to be online, so you can learn at your convenience, and you can also interact with the facilitator anytime you want to get answers to whatever issues is bugging you about the research. Alright, thank you so much. Please leave a comment for this video, and